Welcome back, everybody, to the finale of Northern Valley. Okay, that's got a little bit of a ring to it. But anyway, yeah, this is the final episode, finally, and it's been, what, 2-ish years of hard work on this little city of ours, and it's gonna be kind of sad to see it go. So this episode, we are actually just finishing out the island that we've been working on for the past few episodes, and we're gonna say goodbye to the city with some cinematics. So I hope you guys stick around for that and, say goodbye in your own way. But this is all coming to an end. So yes, this is gonna be kind of sad for me, actually. There's something about this city that I log into it, and it's really the biggest project that I've done on my channel, and it's probably the project that's gained me the most of you guys out there. So it's definitely something that I have a little bit of a hard time saying goodbye to. But anyway, this hopefully will send us off into greener pastures, which brings me to the next point, and that is, if you guys have any suggestions, leave them in the comments for my next series in this game. I am definitely coming back to City Skylines at some point. We're going to take a little bit of a break, but I'll talk about that in a little bit here. But yes, I need another project, and I kind of want to do something a little bit smaller scaled. I've talked about that a little bit from the past couple episodes there, but something with more of a focus. I felt like this city was just kind of just like an open slate, and really at certain points I felt like I lost some inspiration, and that's probably why I wasn't so enthusiastic about putting out episode after episode of this at times. So yes, I think moving forward on my channel, we're going to be a little bit more focused. I am going to, after this series is done, we're going to be jumping pretty heavily into Planet Coaster, because I'd love to get that series a little bit farther along. And then once that series is probably in the last few episodes of its lifespan, I will be switching back to putting out City Skylines videos, and we'll see where the game is then. This shouldn't be like too long from now, hopefully. So I would love to, and my plan for the future is to basically pre-record almost a whole series. Like I said, it's probably going to be a shorter series, but I'm going to be trying to stay ahead of videos and then get those out pretty consistently for you guys. So that is the plan moving forward. So when you guys see the next City Skylines series, know that they are going to be coming out week after week instead of these very sporadic and not, regimented uploads. And that's why you get 31 episodes of a series in 2 years. So let's not talk too much about that. Let's talk a little bit about what we've been doing in this video so far, and that's basically just the ferry area down here on the, what did we ever determine? I think this is the east side of this island. I'm pretty sure, but yes, this is a really awesome little area, and these are the first time I'm using these angled parking spaces for these parking lot roads. I've always loved these, and I've never found a good use for them until now. Well, I guess, yeah. I mean, I could have used these a while ago, but I felt like the stadium parking would be a little extreme to put this kind of parking in here. I feel like people who are driving down and then going on the ferry to do whatever they want to do are probably, the traffic wouldn't get so super weird down here that it would like cause a problem. So I think these spaces keep everything a little bit more organized and all of that. But speaking of the ferries, I think in the next series we do, I want to do a little bit more in like terms of the infrastructure of the game and getting like the logistics of people down pat, I mean, it's just, I felt like at times in this series we get a little bit too much into like the design and not enough into like the infrastructure. Part of the beauty of this game is to see those people in your city like moving around and seeing how they move around. So it's always awesome to see like trams picking up just the right amount of people and dropping off just the right amount of people, and kind of focusing on that in the next series, I feel like is going to be kind of an interesting point. So I guess if you guys have any suggestions for the next series, try to keep that in mind. That is something that I'd love to do a little bit more of. But anyway, we have in this episode a lot of growables. So far, we've done mostly ploppables. Actually, so far on this island, I think it's all been ploppable. No, there's a little bit of growables over by the baseball field, but for the most part, we've been doing the ploppable buildings. And in this episode, there's like a lot of open land on this island. So you'll see in a little bit here, we'll go through and fill out a lot of that space with growables. That is a good way to like cheat your way into like having a lot of density and just not having to do super detail work if you're running this kind of game, this kind of save game. This area right here, though, we have a lot of these little ploppable condominiums, apartments, whatever you want to call them. These are like, I'd assume, fairly luxurious apartments. It's got a very awesome view out directly over the ferry docks there, and onto that little split in the river. So you're also gonna see the really awesome like suspension bridge that we have from this area. So in my mind, these apartments are really awesome. I've said awesome too much, but they also have those really cool little like decks that people can hang out on and look over that view. And this is probably one of those areas in the city that I'd probably try to live in, if I had the choice. And being like the supreme leader and mayor / city designer of the city, I feel like I would have the choice as to where I could live. So this is probably choice number 2. We're going to be building choice number 1 a little bit later here, but we are going through right now and doing some of that growable building that I was just talking about. And yes, we have this really kind of just like out in the open space. We're going to terraform this, and we're going to then do a little bit of road work until we can get these growables in here. Now, I did actually theme this district, so I think it's got like a Brooklyn theme to it. So all these buildings that you're going to see grow up here are actually going to be like a Brooklyn style. So it's not like super dense. Well, okay, it's pretty dense, but it's not like super tall buildings. And so this is just kind of the feel over here. We are actually going to put in one of the taller buildings in this episode. One of the, I think probably the tallest building of this like island area. And it doesn't look that bad, so I guess you guys can let me know when we get to it, but we're just kind of zoning this here, waiting for things to grow in, and then trying to get these roads kind of connected up. The road network down here was fairly straightforward. There were a couple like interesting little elbows that we had to make for these little junctions that we have here, and then just filling out this space. Now, the thing about growables are that it's like very cookie cutter, but what you can do with them is basically get in there and put trees in between them. So even if buildings are going to grow through them later, you can kind of just leave trees in like the back lots of these, because a lot of these growable assets have like a parking lot in the back, so it leaves a lot of space to be filled up. And then when you look like over all these little buildings here, you're gonna get a lot of trees in between them, so it doesn't look so just like generic, We had a little bit of a fire, but we're not gonna talk too much about that. But the building that you just saw me place in the middle here, this is by far my favorite building. I think this is technically a hotel, but in my mind, these are luxury apartments, and you're gonna see why I love this so much a little bit when we start digging through all of those assets that we have that I am so desperately wanting to clean out. Like, I have hundreds, if not thousands, of just like props and stuff, and getting those all stripped out of this game and then starting fresh is gonna be so nice. And I'm gonna, like I was talking about, I'm gonna go through, and when we're doing a project, I'm gonna be kind of tailoring our prop lists to what the project calls for. And that way you guys can then go in and download the asset list and all of that kind of stuff. So yes, moving forward in City Skylines, I want to get you guys a little bit more involved. In Planet Coaster, I've been doing really well with getting the save files uploaded. The thing about Planet Coaster compared to this game, though, is that Planet Coaster doesn't have custom assets. So anybody who's got the game already has everything in the park that I'm building. If you want to download the asset list for this save, it is huge. I need, 32 gigs of RAM? 36 gigs of RAM to be able to run this save. It's pretty ridiculous, but Anyway, not to get too sidetracked, that little area right here with this tree in the middle, I love that. I love this part of this building. And then the little fence that curves just around it. Oh, it's so good. I love how it looks from above. And it's just such a good waterfront property. And that's why I would be moving into that specific building if I had the choice. I know in the live stream, some of you guys have been saying like where you would live in this city. And it's kind of a really cool, like surreal thing for me. Like we've built these virtual city and people, you guys have like such an affinity to a specific part of it that you would want to live in that part. That is so awesome, and you guys are so awesome for that. Moving forward, I think I was talking about this a little bit in the last episode, but the live portion, we're not going to be doing that. Actually, starting now, like this video doesn't have a live portion per se. We're going to be going straight to the cinematics at the end of this, so that's probably going to be the, format moving forward. What you're seeing me do right now is actually go through and start to put some of those trees here and there in between those buildings just to get a little bit more of like a natural feel. And that's one of those things that I was just talking about, getting that like breaking the monotony of what is just buildings up gives you a lot of unique looks. And when you place trees here and there, and especially when you blend the same trees that you've been using in your city, it just looks so good. It looks way more natural because you have to think, like I've said this many times, when we built these cities, we don't start with just like a clean plot of land like you do in City Skylines very often. When you build a city in real life, you have to cut down all the nature work, And so bringing that nature work into your city as you design it is something that gives your city a lot more life, a lot more realism. And that is something that I guess one of those biggest tips that people like ask in the comments is like, how do you do this so well or whatever? And that is the big tip that I always try to give people, is just try to make this game look more natural. Anyway, you just saw me put in that huge building. This is another huge apartment that I feel like is going to be pretty cool for, the people who want to live in a high-rise. I didn't feel like this high-rise was too tall for this area, and it's kind of sitting in the back where it's basically down at the river level, and I felt like this was, I guess, acceptable. You guys can let me know, I guess. Not like we're going to be able to go in and change it. I honestly haven't even tried to set up this or load up this save since the new patch came out, so maybe I'll try to do that and see if I can get the save file prepared for you guys. But the final thing that we're doing in this episode, in the time-lapse here, is building out what I'm calling a couple of these hotels. We have a lot of parking around them, and this just felt like a decent area because this is kind of like the tourism district, like we already have a few hotels down here, and these just kind of seem to work here. I think these buildings are definitely not hotels, but they worked as hotels in my mind. But yes, we're going around and getting a couple more things kind of tidied up back here and getting some parking in here. And that's pretty much going to do it for this time-lapse. Now we're going to kick it over to a bunch of cinematics. So if you guys are looking forward to that, leave those thumbs up. But I will hopefully be releasing a lot of screenshots, really high-res screenshots from this series. So if you want to see those and you want to download those, follow me over on Twitter. The link, as always, is in the description. And I will definitely tweet out when I get those all sorted out. I took so many screenshots of just really awesome angles for this series to kind of wind it all down and let you guys have something just like a parting gift. But guys, I think that's pretty much gonna be it. So as the music starts to play here, we will go over to the time lapses and all of the cinematics, and you guys can say goodbye.